Welcome, traders. Dr. Keith here. Happy Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully you all enjoyed that Wealth Summit. Again, a lot of really good speakers there. A great week of education. You know, Rob does that 4 times a year, and I definitely recommend everyone take advantage of that. All right, so with that, let's take a look at the Dow here. And as you can see on the Dow, we've got a Laguerre trigger short with red Hackenacci dots. And just from pure price, you can see there's been a lot of resistance right there, okay? So it certainly looks like potentially now we're getting ready to head lower. I'd like to see what happens with retailer sentiment early this week. If they continue on the long side, then we'll definitely head lower in the markets. But this could be a potential top. But remember, we are in a bull market right now, right? We've been in a bull market since early March. And so with that, you know, the trend is your friend until it's not. So just always remember that. You know, I'd like to see the weekly turn red as well. But it definitely looks like potentially we're at a top of the market, and we'll start that move back down. We'll see. Okay, same with here. If you're taking a look at the NASDAQ, you see the NASDAQ had already triggered short on the Laguerre. And interesting enough, on one of my new indicator, I'll be talking more about this a lot in the near future, but the MFG, you can see here, typically what happens, folks, is when this comes back below the red, so when it's up high like this and comes back, that means a potential big move's coming. And so you can see back here, it happened March 15th, bam, okay? And this indicator doesn't pick direction. You know, that's where we use our entries with the Hackenacci and the Laguerre. But as you can see here, this is overextended a lot more than it's been. Okay, so as far as, you know, over the last year, this is the most overextended it's been. So we're getting a big move coming. My guess is going to be to the downside, just based off of the seasonality coming in May to the downside. But we'll wait and see how that all sets up. All right, the VIX. So, you know, the VIX has been very interesting. You know, when you look at the futures, I got the VIX futures up here. Okay, you can see here again, the MFG came back up there, came back down on March 30th. You know, it had a big move to the downside, which is what Hackenacci was telling us. But it went down to 1688. You know, now the real question is this, you know, is this the bottom or not? It's pretty low for the VIX. You know, it certainly has gone lower, no question about it, but it's at a recent low here. And, you know, we'll probably get that spike as we get closer into May on that VIX. Bonds. You can see here on bonds that we've really been consolidating, you know, roughly, let me just draw a picture for you. Here to here, there's been some consolidation. Doesn't really know what it wants to do right now. Seasonality is kind of back, nothing major, a little bit more to the downside than the upside, you know, until we get to that nice June long play that we typically take. But I would be surprised if it comes back down here and kind of consolidates until we get into June on bonds. Gold. Find gold here. Where do you go? There it is. All right, so with gold, you can see seasonal perspective. We kind of head lower now until middle of May. Then it's really back and forth. So the overall bias between now and July is more to that downside. You see how it slants down. And then July is a bullish month typically on gold, okay? So we're in that uptrend. At this point, you can see here the MFG back in March triggered down here, which again doesn't pick direction. That's what the Laguerre and the Hackenacci does. And it made that nice move up. Only when it gets extreme levels like back here, coming back up, is when I really pay attention. Right here, it went back up. But you know, it's at this point, it's not really significant. I do think gold is probably close to a top here. Will probably come down lower. But if you're following just the overall trend, just let it retrace. And then when we get triggers to the long side in the near future, right, you have a better chance, a safer bet of making money following that overall trend. All right, crude. Again, crude typically continues higher. Okay, so this little pullback here certainly looks like that's all it's going to be, is a pullback, and then we'll look to go higher. Crude has been consolidating, but it's a big enough range you can still trade it and make money. Roughly 70 to 82 has typically been the range, big picture here for the year. And so we'll wait and see. But if this continues down and then bounces, certainly that'll be a good trade coming up here on crude. Apple. Right, so Apple's been super strong, right? Seasonality typically says, hey, when we get into mid-March, it goes higher, and it has. So follow that trend, folks. It may now start consolidating, see on the weekly over here on the right, until we get to that beautiful summer trade. But yeah, I like Apple. I'll probably not look to trade Apple during May. Not that it can't go higher, but I do think the markets will pull back and give us a better opportunity for that June long on stocks like Apple. Nvidia, same thing, super strong, great seasonal move. What we look for is pullbacks, right? Profit taking, you get a 2 or 3 or 4 day move back down, then you get new triggers. That could be a great opportunity for us. You can see here the MFG is overextended here. So once this triggers, okay, once this comes back through the red line here, it could be a good opportunity to re-enter. But as a reminder, as you learn more and more about this indicator, this isn't picking the direction of the move, just that a big move potentially is coming. All right, folks, so have a great week ahead. Last week was fairly slow on alerts. I think it was, what, 2 of them? Just because, again, I've been waiting. We've been going back and forth. Let me just bring up the S&P here. Let me just come blow it out a little bit here so to show you. Last week we knew that this last couple of weeks would probably go higher with the high probabilities, right? Based off of the data I share you heading in through tax that is bullish, okay? And it did, it went higher. But it was a slower week. It was more sideways last week. And I'm just waiting, because my bias is now starting to turn to the short side. If retailer sentiment continues where they get more and more bullish, then we're definitely probably close to that top. So once we get clear direction, there'll be more alerts as well, folks. But again, it's all about patience at times and making sure, because as a swing trader, right, if you just start executing trades without having a plan, right, that can be disastrous. So have a great week, everybody. Hopefully everything's going well, and I'll see you on the next update. Take care.